order this meeting of the Chippewa County Board of Commissioners for July. This is our regular board meeting. We start, as we always do, with the Pledge of Allegiance. Who'd like to start us off today? Commissioner Johnson, how about you start us with the pledge?
My turn again.
You do a good job.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And will the clerk please take roll call attendance?
Commissioner Egan. Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Martin.
Here.
Commissioner McLean.
Here.
And Chairman Shackleton.
Here. And we have a quorum. We move on to additions, deletions to the agenda. Commissioner McLean.
I'd move approval of the agenda with 3 items in addition. One is the friend of the court. Another one is with the prosecuting attorney. It deals with a CPR amendment. And also resolution 1518 proposed or supporting UpCap's AAA area on aging. So those 3 items, if we could add those to the agenda, I'm not sure where they would go, but
Okay. We can handle that.
okay.
We'll put them under, well, is there a motion of support? It's a motion, do we need a
Yeah.
I'll
support? Okay, we have a support as well. Let's just, is there any discussion on the motion before us? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. I think we'll just put all those under new business. So our resolutions will be item 1, and those resolutions will be 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so we move on to county board minutes. We had a public hearing for truth and taxation, the date of June 8th, 2015. We also had a regular board meeting on June 8th, 2015.
I'd move approval of both of those minutes.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Martin, that we accept the public hearing, truth and taxation, and the regular board minutes from June 8th, 2015. Is there discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. Correspondence received in the clerk's office is on page 14.
I'd move that we acknowledge the correspondence received in the clerk's office and if necessary forward them to the appropriate committee.
I'll support.
Motion made by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Egan, that the correspondence received in the clerk's office be acknowledged and forwarded as appropriate. Is there discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. We are at the public comment period of our agenda. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to speak under public comment, this is your opportunity. Call one more, well, twice more. Anyone in public comment like to speak? And last chance, public comment period is now closed. We move to Administrator's Report. Administrator German.
You'll see the various reports there: Department of Veterans Affairs, War Memorial Hospital, Sheriff's Department, Animal Control, and Public Defender. And the only other thing I'd like to mention at this time is we continue to do with our due diligence little projects around the courthouse grounds. Mr. Johnson and I took a tour this morning of trees that we have dying outside. And eventually, if we don't start now, in 20 years from now, we won't have any trees. So we're just trying to look in the grounds.
Yeah, and I often look at our grounds. I think it really is a community and public asset, and we need to keep it up. Seeing nothing else to deal with there under Administrator's Report, we move to old business, which is item 9. We have nothing itemized under new business, so we move to item 10, which is new business, where we will first handle a resolution The first one being Resolution 1515, support of maintaining the support of Alger County DHHS office. That's on page 29. I do need a motion for us to be able to vote on that, or,
I'll move approval of resolution 1515, support of maintaining, the Alger County DHHS.
I'll support.
okay, so we have a motion and support. Is there any discussion?
Can we make sure that this somehow ends up in the hands of Mr. Chatfield and Mr. Schmidt
Absolutely. I think we would normally send one to the governor's office as well.
also? Because it's very unfair what they've done to the Upper Peninsula in denying them services. And I think a real burden on their citizens. And if we don't, in the words of Ben Franklin, all hang together, we'll hang separately.
I would also encourage if we could get a copy of this resolution to other counties in the Upper Peninsula to know that, you know, if we all can maybe do something like this, that we can speak with a united voice.
Okay. All resolutions are roll call votes, so I'll ask the clerk to take a vote, please.
Commissioner Egan,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
Right?
Commissioner McLean,
Yes.
and Chairman Shackleton.
Yes, that passes unanimously. We move to Resolution 1516. This is investment policy. It is on page 31.
I'd move resolution 1516 on the investment policy.
Support?
Motion is made by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Johnson, that we pass Resolution 1516. Is there discussion? Will the clerk please take a roll call vote?
Commissioner Egan,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
Right?
Commissioner McLean,
Yes.
Chairman Shackleton.
Yes, so 1516 is also passed unanimously. Resolution 1517 is appreciation and recognition of Anna Allen. That is on page 35, and I think we want to recognize Anna for her 15 years plus of service to the people of Chippewa County.
I'd move resolution 1517, appreciation and recognition of Anna Allen.
I'd support.
Support made by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Martin, that we approve Resolution 1517. Would the clerk please take a roll call vote?
Commissioner Egan,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
Right?
Commissioner McLean,
Yes.
and Chairman Shackleton.
Yes. We move to, that's also passes unanimously. We move to standing committee reports. A, building, sorry, did we miss one? Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. We're under new business and we added a couple of items and I almost just went over them. The first is the friend of the court CPR amendment. And who wants to give us a brief explanation of this? Jim or Kelly?
It's just a rollover, we have to do it every year, it's money that comes from the state, and it's just an automatic.
Okay, so this is an annual rubber stamp, so to speak.
Yes.
Has anything been added to it, or as far as requirements?
This is just a CRT contract that we continually have to sign, and this is just the amendment for this round of the grant that we utilize between credit court and the prosecuting attorney.
Okay, so it's the exact same as last year.
Well, the numbers aren't exact, but it's
Right,
the
but-
exact concept, yes.
Okay, that's what I'm making sure.
Okay.
I'll move.
I'll support.
Motion made by Commissioner Egan, supported by Commissioner Martin. Is there more discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. Item 3, under new business, will be the prosecuting attorney CPR amendment. This, I assume, is the same basic thing, but the prosecuting attorney rather than friend of the court.
I'll move.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Martin, Commissioner Egan, supported by Commissioner Johnson. Is there discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
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 Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. Resolution 1518 we've added. This is supporting UpCap's AAA 2016 plan implementation. Does anybody need any?
I'll move resolution 1518 supporting UpCap AAA designation or whatever, the implementation plan for 2016.
I'll support.
We have a motion made by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Martin. Now, is there discussion on that?
Just an explanation, I was at a meeting of UpCap on Friday, and this is just the same type of process. We need to go through it every so often and approve it. And they, just a sidebar, this is my second meeting, and they did a workshop, training workshop, and it's really impressive. It's just how much they contribute or take care of in the Upper Peninsula relative to a number of programs. I guess really appreciated what it was all about on Friday.
Okay. Any further discussion? This is a resolution. Will the clerk please take a roll call vote?
Commissioner Egan.
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
Commissioner McLean.
Yes,
And Chairman Shackleton.
Yes. Okay, we move now to standing committee reports. Item A is Building, Grounds, Jail, Legislative, Natural Resources, and Information Tech. That is Commissioner Johnson.
A regular meeting of the Chippewa County Board of Commissioners, Building, Grounds, and Jail Legislative and Natural Resources and Information Technology Committee was held on Thursday, June 18th, 2015, at the Chippewa County Courthouse in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. Chairman Johnson called the meeting to order at 10 a.m. with a quorum present. Members present: Rudy Johnson, Don McLean, Connor Egan. Members absent: none. The others present was Craig Cripps, DNR by phone, Jim German, and Kelly Church. Additions and deletions to the agenda was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Egan, to approve the agenda as presented. On a voice vote, the motion carried. No public comment. Agenda items were Whitefish Township property sale to DNR. Craig Cripps from the DNR Parks and Recreation Division addressed the committee regarding the DNR receiving 13 acres of donated wetlands to adjoin the park near 123 in Whitefish Township. The DNR is asking for a letter of support. It was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Egan, to recognize and approve a letter of support for the DNR. We received the Barber property located in Whitefish Township, Town 46 North, Range 6 West, Section 10, and to forward this request to the full board for consideration. On a voice vote, the motion carried. And I would so move.
did this go to finance? Are we
I
gonna
don't
see?
think so.
No? Okay. Okay, we're all set. I'll support.
Okay. We have a motion made by Commissioner Johnson, supported by Commissioner McLean. Is there discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Another agenda item was a heated sidewalk replacement. It was discussed that the internal heat mats had gone out in the sidewalks at the courthouse handicap ramp. It was mentioned that external heat mats would be more cost effective than getting new sidewalks. It was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Egan, to have the administration get 3 quotes for heat mats for the courthouse ADA handicap ramp. On a voice vote, the motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Johnson, supported by Commissioner McLean. Is there discussion?
I just wanna add that, you know, this wasn't just a fiscal way to fix this, it also is to help logistically make it so people can get in and out of the courthouse without a problem, instead of having to rip up a large amount of concrete. This should be able to solve the problem without making it inaccessible for people for a while.
Anyone else? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
The next agenda item was a tunnel. A proposal to eliminate the standing water in the tunnel from Foundation Systems of Michigan was received. The company seems to have a good local plan, a logical plan to eliminate the standing water. It is a basement system water guard, which is a basement waterproofing system including a detaching utilities for the wall, installing a sump pump, and installing approximately 170 feet of water guard. It was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Egan, to accept the quote from Foundation Systems of Michigan in the amount of $15,700 to install the water guard, basement waterproofing system, and a tunnel, and to forward this to the Finance Committee for consideration. I would so move.
I'll support.
That's already gone to finance, we don't really need a motion on that.
Okay. Another agenda item was a shed. A storage shed was discussed due to the new lawnmower and other tools taking up too much space, too much room in the cage. The shed would go on the north side of the county building. A discussion ensured Deputy Church and Building Inspector drew up an RFP, see attached. It was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Egan, to send out the RFP so that the results may be ready for the July finance meeting. On a voice vote, the motion carried.
That went to finance.
And that also went to finance. General discussion, the committee held a general discussion on better acoustics, is it? Okay, noise for circuit court. Administration was instructed to check with JAVS and possibly LSSU for a sound engineering study.
Could I interrupt you for just a second?
Sure.
I wanted to mention a comment about the sound system before we close that off. I had occasion on Friday at the UPCAP meeting to talk to Jim Hill from Mackinac County, the chairman of Mackinac County. And they're in the process of trying to work on the sound system in their courtroom. And he mentioned that he had found a company or a couple of companies that deal just with courtrooms. And so I said, well, keep us apprised of that as it progresses, and he'll share those names, and if we get to the point where we want to go that way, that he could provide the names. But they work specifically with sound systems in courtrooms.
You know, we since you've been on the commission, we hired someone to come in, analyze the room, put in an upgraded sound system. We thought it was gonna solve everything. It hasn't. It's very frustrating. There's been a lot of money put into trying to improve the acoustics over the years in that room. Nothing seemed to work. I'd love to see, cause Mackinac County's courtroom is not much different from ours. It's a big old barn like ours is. Let them go first. If that system works, let's grab the people who did it and get them up here, you know? Cause boy, I'd rather see something actually work like that, so.
What did you learn from Javs?
Nothing from Jazz. Tina Ozala, the circuit court administrator, is working with a gentleman named Joe Jazz, who is going to do a test in the back, and he's actually gonna be hanging some stuff along the back wall.
Yeah.
At his cost, no cost to us, and then he's given us a quote on something called whisper walls.
Okay.
That can be.
Just sound absorbing
if
panels.
That's the problem.
Yeah, well, and it's certainly the problem, it's sort of like the Polar, you know, the way the sound bounces around. And that is a big room with hard walls and the sound's bouncing around, so you want sound absorbent panels. Again, even here, these are acoustic panels, and there, you don't have that. You've got a big high ceiling with a hard top, and, yeah, I mean, I'd love to see it get fixed, but I don't wanna put, more money, you know, good money after bad on it, like we've already done, so.
I completely agree, and I like the idea of using a local company. That makes me happy.
Sure.
Even a company from the state of Michigan would make me a little happier than getting somebody from Tennessee up here.
Well, the last one was from Marquette, I believe.
Yep.
And I think they were, like Bose,
Yeah, they
Bose
did the
certified
audio
or
system,
Bose
which
or something.
I wouldn't hire them again with this. The
Yeah.
audio system they put in your courtroom, it has done literally nothing for you.
It'll
It
work.
was range communications, we thought we had it.
Yeah.
Thought we had Bose speakers,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
This is gonna be great, and that's why we're here today. So, and here instead of over there.
That's right.
Although I would, just take that, since we're on that subject, I would sort of remind commissioners to try to speak up and project your voice a little bit too, so the public, has some opportunity to hear you.
I'd like to make a comment about
Go
the
ahead.
financial implications of it. If we don't fix it, it also has financial implications if we have a mistrial because,
People
the
don't
jury can't hear or something like that, which, we have to weigh both options. So,
Does that ever happen? I mean, it could, I'm just curious, I wonder if it ever has.
anybody?
No?
Um,
Doesn't mean it can't. I'm
A lot of
curious.
people have trouble hearing in the
Yeah.
it's very difficult for me to hear, and I'm right up front
Yeah,
when I'm pulling all the jurors, and the attorneys have a hard time, especially if we have to have the air conditioners going,
Right.
because it gets so hot, some of them might pass out a little bit, because heat really affects some people differently, and it's extremely hard. We just had an 8-day trial, and they loved it over here. They were over here for a couple days, we had to switch them back and forth, and they had to go back. They asked if they could stay here. I couldn't let them stay here. But it ended up being a little bit cooler, and at least we didn't have the air conditioners running, and it could hear a little better. But it is very difficult, especially, and the first day that we have all the people there, we may pull 100 people for a jury trial, if it's an 8-day one.
I've been in there and
Yep.
you cannot hear anything if you're at the back of the room.
yeah, I'm sure it's true. And this is indirectly related, I was gonna mention this at the end of the meeting, but since we've been on the subject, I just wanna thank Judge Church for accommodating us as well as she does for having our meetings here. And I know she's not here right now, but I wanna say that at a board meeting, that she's, has been very helpful in arranging her schedule so that we can be here and have our board meetings, and I appreciate it a lot. So with that, we'll go on to the next matter at hand, perhaps? I think, are we still in your minutes,
Yeah,
Commissioner
we're just
Johnson?
finishing up. Committee and chairman's comments, there were none. It was moved by Commissioner McLean, seconded by Commissioner Egan to adjourn the meeting. On a voice vote, the motion was carried. The meeting was adjourned at 10:45 a.m. And I so move for the acceptance of my report.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Johnson, supported by Commissioner McLean, to accept the minutes of the June 18th meeting of Building Grounds Jail, Legislative, Natural Resources, and Information Tech. Is there discussion on the motion?
I'd like to mention that courthouse one more time as far as the sound. Now, that was designed originally for we talked about before, that was designed for no speakers, no sound system. Has something been hung on the wall, something changed? Years ago it had to work.
Go ahead, Administrator Adjourn.
Well, it's my understanding when the renovation was done, they must have been experiencing this problem many years ago, because when the renovation was done, there was a ceiling that went across the top of it. And when they were renovating, they found out there was that beautiful glass skylight. And so they took the ceiling out. I don't know what it was like with the ceiling in, I wasn't around then, but they have tried things over the years.
I would suspect that courtroom was built for function, but probably did not consider the acoustics when it was being built. They just, you know what I mean? Because it's a beautiful old courtroom and, has lots of room, but I can't see how that room ever could have had good acoustics. Just like just like the Polar. It's terrible acoustics, but it's a great place.
I will say that there was an art to the way they orated back then, and it was
Yeah.
a little bit of showmanship,
Yes.
and they did it in a loud fashion, and I think a little bit of that has been lost, and that's not a bad thing, nor is it a good thing.
Yes.
So
We want let the community of attorneys know that from now on we expect powdered wigs and tremendous oration.
and enunciate.
Yes.
Tell them all to enunciate.
All right, I'm going to enunciate this. All in favor of the motion on the floor of accepting the minutes, please vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. We move on to finance, claims, and accounts. Commissioner Martin.
We had a regular meeting of the Chippewa County Board of Commissioners Finance Claims and Account Committee on Thursday, July 9th at the Chippewa County Building. I call the meeting to order at 2 p.m. with a quorum present. Those present were myself, Commissioner Shackleton, Commissioner McLean, Commissioner Egan, and Commissioner Johnson. Others present were Margie Hank, Jim German, and Kelly Church. We approved the agenda, then moved to public comment. There was no public comment. We then received Treasurer's Investment Point reports for May and June, the Visa billing statement, and a letter from North Care Network requesting liquor tax PA2 funding for substance use disorder prevention. It was moved by Commissioner Shackleton, supported by Commissioner Egan, to forward the June 16th notice to the Drug Court team and to the Chippewa County Health Department with the Board of Commissioners' support to seek that funding. On a voice vote, that motion carried, and I would so move.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Martin, supported by Commissioner Egan. Is there discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Next, we took a look at some equipment that we needed for for 911, and those things were a GIS system, batteries, backpacks, mics, radio accessories, and the such. It was moved by Commissioner Shackleton, supported by Commissioner Egan, to approve the purchase and waive the purchasing policy as follows. $5,000 to EUP Regional Planning for Geographic Information Systems, $4,112.50 to Motorola for batteries, battery packs, mics, and radio accessories, and $11,749.50 to Motorola to purchase 3 Motorola Apex 600 portable radios. On a voice vote, the motion was carried. I would add, though, the reason why we were looking for the exception is the dollar amount for the 3 portable radios is over. We have $10,000 limit on that. Each radio was beneath the threshold that we need for that, so that's why we waived that. So, as such, I would so move.
Support.
Motion made and supported. Do we have to waive the policy in there somehow? Purchasing policy, or not a consideration? We're okay?
For the 11,000.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the 11,000. That's divide by 3. That's what each radio was.
okay. I just thought it would be a part of the motion. Oh, it is part of the motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, how about we just vote on this? Any other discussion? Commissioner McLean.
I just want to mention that when you get into this particular area with things that are OES 911, in a lot of cases, the single vendor is, you know, the only vendor that can provide the item at a reasonable cost, and they do lots of research. We've gotten caught in different types of things like that where we've gone out in bids and the low bid has come in, but it's not somebody you can trust to provide that, or the equipment isn't up to snuff. So it gets to be one of those specialty items that it's not just that we're sneaking anything by. It's just that the availability of appropriate vendors is really limited.
And the tolerance of use of equipment is within certain parameters, and it has to work. So I understand.
It all has to be compatible.
Yep.
New York City found out on 9/11 what happens when you're not compatible. So all of our equipment's compatible with each other.
And we want our people to be able to do their jobs as safely and effectively as possible, and if that means having to get specific equipment for them, we understand.
Good.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. It's been supported. All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Right.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Okay. Next, we received copies of 4 agreements that need to be approved for the drug court operation. The agreements expire September 30th, 2015, matching the current grant funding. Project consultation services, June 18th to September 30th, not to exceed $10,500. Redwood Toxicology will do drug screening at $10 per drug. Great Lakes Recovery Incorporated will cover substance abuse counseling, and Chippewa County Sheriff's Department will do electronic monitoring. It was moved by Commissioner Egan, supported by Commissioner Johnson, to approve and authorize signature for the following agreements: Project Consulting Services, not to exceed 10,500. Redwood Toxicology, $10 per drug. Great Lakes Recovery, not to exceed 12,500 in counseling, and 3,600 for testing. And the Chippewa County Sheriff's Department, not to exceed $1,350. On a voice vote, that motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Martin, supported by Commissioner Johnson. Is there discussion?
I just have one question. I've been thinking about this afterwards. The Redwood Toxicology drug screening, $10 per drug. What's the most a drug test is gonna cost? Is it like 6 drugs? Is it 8 drugs? I mean, what? I just wondered what
You
the
know,
standard is.
Anybody can walk into Rite Aid or Walmart, and you can take a look at their drug test kits they have there, and they'll range anywhere from $10 to $50,
Okay,
depending on how much they're testing for at the time.
right.
And we're buying them in bulk, from my understanding, and so therefore we're getting a better deal.
Okay, I understand that. I'm just saying, you know, is each one a 6-panel test, or is it usually a single panel test at $10?
I believe it's,
A 5-panel? Okay, that's just kind of what I was interested in. So it's actually around $50 a piece for each drug test. Okay, just trying to do some math in my
Okay.
head. That's all.
All right. So we have a motion before us. It's been supported. Is there further discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Next, we took a look at the bids for the storage shed, for the, also for the foundation system mission, but we have to separate these, don't we, though? In the motion?
Storage shed installation, bid summary, and foundation.
it was one motion.
Or are we gonna
It
throw
was
them
one
together?
motion.
Okay, we did throw them together?
Yeah.
Okay, taking a look at those bids, for the storage shed, which will be between the county building and I guess the old city county building, for all of our equipment, for safety's sake, liability's sake, and ease of use for our maintenance people to make them more efficient. We're building that 16 by 18 shed, and obviously, liability concerns, safety concerns downstairs, and aesthetic concerns downstairs, get that water out of there. So we went with the Foundation System of Michigan to install a water guard system. It was moved by Commissioner Johnson, supported by Commissioner Egan, to approve and authorize a low bid of $11,941 to Whiskey River Incorporated to install the new 16 by 18 foot storage shed as proposed, and to authorize Foundation Systems of Michigan $15,700 to install the water guard system in the tunnel to alleviate standing water issues. Both projects will be paid from Fund 226, Building Maintenance Fund. On a voice vote, the motion carried, and I would so move.
I'll support.
Motion made by Commissioner Martin, supported by Commissioner Egan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Next, we had Resolution 1515, which we've already discussed here, in support of DHHS's agreement with the state of Michigan. Moved by Commissioner Egan, supported by Commissioner Shackleton, to forward that resolution in support of maintaining the state of Michigan Department of Health and Human Services in Eldred County. On a voice vote, the motion carried, and I would so move.
We don't need a motion on that.
That's right,
Commissioner.
we already
voted on it.
We're ahead.
Yeah,
All right.
we're way ahead.
Next, we had a FOIA issue. There are changes effective July 1st, 2015. Public Act 563 of 2014 requires public bodies limit fees to be charged. And essentially what we've done is we have taken a template and used that now as attachment A, and that attachment will supersede the previous policy because we know that the attachment is in compliance with the legislation. Therefore, it was moved by Commissioner Shackleton, supported by Commissioner Egan, to adopt and attach the new ruling provided by MMRMA as attachment A of the county's current FOIA policy and procedure, and that new ruling would supersede and be in effect immediately. On a voice vote, the motion carried, and I would so move.
Motion made by Commissioner Martin, supported by Commissioner Johnson. Is there discussion?
Yeah, I'd just like to put on the record that this is a very important issue that other states such as Wisconsin are facing attacks on their FOIA, and it's good to see Michigan updating and making sure that we give the public access to the things that they need to understand what's going on in government. So I'd like to commend everyone for pushing this one along.
And I think that, my experience is that Chippewa County is very responsive and does a very appropriate job whenever we're asked for, public information. Perhaps not every public body in the state does as good a job as this county does.
Makes me proud that you say that.
Well, thank you. Is there further discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Next, we took a look at the investment policy provided by Treasurer Margie Hank, and made resolution 1516 per Act 20 of the Michigan Public Acts of 1943. Moved by Commissioner Egan, supported by Commissioner Johnson, to approve Chippewa County investment policy as presented, and to forward resolution 1516 accepting the investment policy 1516 to the full board for approval. On voice vote, the motion carried, and I
We
would
already
so
did that.
move. So we got that one already. Good.
Yep.
And then next we took a look at paying the bills and payroll. Moved by Commissioner Egan, supported by Commissioner McLean, to recommend approval of June bills and payroll as follows. General claims of $229,267.98. Other fund claims of $638,434.12. Payroll of $452,699.56. Health Department claims of $486,458.34. For total claims of $1,806,860,000. And vouchers H1 through H315. A voice vote, the motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Martin, supported by Commissioner, was that McLean? Is there discussion on the motion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Audit amendments, moved by Commissioner Shackman, supported by Commissioner Egan, to approve the beginning funding balances as presented from the fiscal year 2014 audit. A voice vote, the motion carried. We have an attachment for that. As such, though, I would move that we accept that.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Egan, supported by Commissioner Martin. Is it?
Martin.
Either way.
Oh, other way around, I'm sorry. Motion made by Commissioner Martin, supported by Commissioner Egan. Is there discussion on the motion?
Making sure Mrs. Melport's staying awake and
We're messing with you.
there you go.
As best we can.
All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Budget amendment moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Egan, to approve the budget amendments as presented for fiscal year 2015. On a voice vote, the motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Martin, supported by Commissioner McLean. Is there discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
And the meeting was adjourned at 2:55 p.m.
Would you like us to accept those minutes?
I would make a motion to accept the minutes of Finance, Claims, and Accounts Committee.
Support.
Motion made and supported that we accept the Finance Claims Accounts Committee meeting minutes of July 9th, 2015. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. And that completes most of our business. We just get down to Commissioner report on meetings as board representative and general comments.
I have a little,
Mr.
we're
Johnson.
working on this EMS, trying to get it more out in small areas. We've had our 5th meeting. Last one wasn't attended very well, but we had a number of people there. We seem to be gaining ground. I think we're all in trouble with volunteers, ambulances getting older. I think the only two that don't think they're in trouble would be Pickford and Paradise, but it's just a couple of years down the road and they'll be where we're at. But we're moving forward, and a little town like Paradise is growing. They opened a new business, a Little Falls, or the Red Flannel Saloon it used to be. It's nice to see these small towns, the business is starting to open again. Trout Lake now has 2 bars up and running.
Hot dog.
Yeah, it's a good thing for Trout Lake. And I also went on that Education on the Farm tour. I'm sure everybody got a pamphlet.
Yeah.
Um,
Was love to have done it.
To a non-farmer, that was pretty amazing what it takes to be a farmer today.
Yeah.
I thought you threw a cow in a bowl in the field, let them mate, and we're done. But I guess a little more to that, eh?
Yeah.
All right, anybody else?
Yeah, we had a meeting last week with Representative Chatfield on Dark Source proposal. Legislation, he asked for legislation, what did we need Chippewa County? And so we pretty much gave it to him. We told him essentially we'd like to see, because the legislation has to be very simplistic, because it can't really single them out. The legislation which is proposed right now has some parts that may indeed be constitutionally on shaky ground. We told him basically what we'd like to see have happen is that foreclosed, distressed, and deed restricted properties shall no longer be used as comparable values on in-use stores in the state of Michigan for either assessment or appeals. And I think that's it cuts right to the chase of the problem. Unfortunately for us and every other entity in Chippewa County, the city did settle, I think more cutting their losses and knowing what the tribunal has done. They did settle for 13 and 14, the appeal of Walmart. They are going to fight Walmart on 2015 taxes. Remember that $10,000 we started out in the black? Well, that's gone now because our operating will be hit with a $10,000 loss. The jail will lose 1,000, EMS 730. The road commission will lose about 1,700. Recycling will lose 856. The senior citizens of this county will lose $855, and the animal shelter will lose $171. That is all money that will essentially go to Batesville, Arkansas, from Chippewa County, because it's all money that unfortunately has been spent, budgeted and spent over the last 2 years here, and that money is gone. However, I understand them cutting their losses, and that's one of the things we talked about at the conferences. When this started 2 years ago, the county, the city, the schools should have all banded together and fought this thing, but it did not happen, and there's nothing we can do about it in the past. My guess is the other companies who are asking for property tax relief will also come with their hands open, saying, well, you settled with Walmart for 2 years, give us money, give us a refund too. And that is the slippery slope that we're now going down. We hope for legislation. The House is in session now. I request everyone and anyone to call, although I think they're working on roads this week, correct?
Probably.
They're working on the roads issue. But Representative Chatfield, it was a very fruitful meeting. He was very, very interested in getting us fair legislation, and that's all we're looking for is fairness here. We talked about the fact that this tax tribunal is picking winners and losers, and that's not government's job. Never has been, never should be. The MAC conference we went to a few weeks back talked about laws as far as on the rivers and lakes. Michigan is moving forward with self-sufficiency of electric. The entire UP, that means a lot of transmission over a lot of miles of electric. I would say it's going to move our electric rates up, but we do have cheap electric across the river, but they want Michigan to be self-sufficient, and they want to do that because we're all aware of what happened over in the West End and how we were all going to be on the hook, and that's because Wisconsin Energy was doing what was best for the citizens of Wisconsin, and Michigan needs to be self-reliant in electricity. Therefore, that's the governor's move, is we're going to make Michigan self-reliant, and if that means shipping electricity from Gaylord all the way to Ironwood, then so be it. I don't know what that's going to cost. I'm not an electrical engineer, but I'm guessing it's not going to be cheap. However, one of the things that Michigan is pushing is biomass, and that's using waste wood products. And Lord knows we have enough of that up here. 5 of the 6 biomass power plants are all in northern Michigan, none yet in the UP. Something that I think we need to look into, Administrator German, is making that happen maybe up here in the EUP. It's basically using products that are basically going to be discarded. Also talked about wind farms as another way to help with electrical costs.
I'd like to add to that, you know, I keep hearing people say that, they've done wind studies here and it's not feasible for the eastern UP. Yet, right across the river, they keep adding more and more and more, and their energy has never been cheaper. So, we should be taking a note from them and maybe doing something instead of just saying that, oh, the experts say it's not feasible.
Wind production is feasible, the problem is it's just at the margins.
Right.
It's a very small percentage of your electrical needs. And you'll never be,
Right.
likely never be more than that, it's gonna be at the margins. But sure, it's
Ontario's made it work incredibly, and not in the margins. They've been able to do it as a main source of electricity.
let's look, I'm just curious, I don't wanna get a huge debate with you, and I'm not that passionate about it, but I think the fact is, and let's look at Ontario, that they've certainly been productive and successful for them, but I'll bet you it's less than 10% of the energy in Ontario, I'll bet you it's significantly less than 10%. Let's just look, I'm just curious too.
Yeah,
You
no,
got me
I
curious, I
absolutely
wanna
agree.
look it up.
Yeah, and I guess the way I look at wind energy is, even if it is marginal, even if it is 4, 5, 6%, it's clean energy, it's renewable energy, it brings jobs up here for building and maintenance of these things.
Yeah.
And if you've traveled down 127 to Lansing, and I think we all have, and you see in the Alma area, my gosh, 4 or 5 dozen of those things as far as the eye can see. If it's feasible there in the middle of the peninsula, then how can it not be by the shore when we get occasionally sea breezes off Lake Superior and off Lake Huron in Michigan, down in Mackinac County? How can it be feasible in the middle of Michigan's lower peninsula, and how can we not have more wind? It just seems to me we have an awful lot of wind around here.
We do.
But I like the fact that it's like what we have downtown. I mean, with the dam, with
Hydroelectric.
hydroelectric. I mean, it's renewable. It brings jobs. How can we lose by looking forward? And I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't want it."
You know,
Well,
I wonder too if if the state's really interested, could they somehow grant or help Cloverland to upgrade their hydroelectric plant, be more efficient and produce more electricity?
Yeah, I mean, it's got turbines that are capturing a fraction of what they could in electricity. I mean, if they upgraded them, we would almost be able to be self-sufficient in the eastern UP. I mean, it's a significant amount of energy not being captured because of old
Yeah.
machinery.
Yeah, and
Why
that's,
can't you put another, plant upriver and use it once up here, use it again halfway down, and use it as it goes out?
Yeah.
Still going the same direction.
probably because of the shipping traffic, it's probably not feasible. Or are you talking about actually in the canal?
Right in
Put
the
a
canal,
second,
What, you got 2 miles of canal or?
put
a mile?
another about a mile and a half.
I don't know how that works.
But
Why don't you put 2
yeah,
more there?
I don't know. It would, you would think. I mean, that would be a way for them to produce energy pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
You would think, but they would probably need some incentive. And you know, biomass is much cleaner than anything, with the possible exception of natural gas. Except that biomass is here in northern Michigan already. We don't have to import it from anybody anywhere. But it's cleaner as far as greenhouse gases. Wind power is renewable and clean. Hydroelectric is renewable and clean. So anything that you know, we can do to help make those things happen, we'd be silly not to, for our children and our grandchildren, because we've got a beautiful thing up here and we want to keep it that way. And coal-fired plants are going the way of the dinosaur.
And they made big improvements on burning that biomass and all what they did 20 years ago. It was kind
Yeah,
of messed with.
the presentation they did was outstanding on it. You know, it's not the whole answer, but you know, you got hydroelectric, you got wind, you got biomass. We've taken, you know, maybe up to half of our electrical could be done there.
I'd like to see the resources here in the eastern upper peninsula be explored, and before we start throwing transmission lines across the straits. We already have transmission lines across the straits. Why throw more money into something that isn't working efficiently now?
Because the governor wants to.
Yeah.
And they made that very apparent. It's happening. Michigan is going to be self-sufficient. about the only thing we're gonna control of that is how much of it is local with hydro, local with biomass, and local with wind, that we will have control. Otherwise, it's coming across the bridge, and it's going all the way to Ironwood, because we're not gonna have Wisconsin Energy tell us, you know, anything about our electric, and they were very abrupt. It's happening. It's coming across that bridge.
Well, compared to where we were 1 year ago, that would seem to be pretty good news.
Yeah.
1 year ago, we were all wondering what the heck was gonna happen.
And that's the impetus behind it. That's the whole idea.
Commissioner McLean.
I guess Commissioner Martin's comments, I guess, point up again the importance of attending these MAC conferences. I know it's an expense to the county to a certain extent, and it takes a lot of time to do it, you know, it's a commitment and that type of thing, but you came back with a wealth of information, and it's all pertinent to what we're working with. The other thing I want to comment on, and really I want to commend the 3 new commissioners on the way that they've taken to the job. We're 6 months into this now, and seriously, when we started, Scott and I believe, shared the same thing. That's how is this going to work with 3 new people? But you really stepped up, and you're all working on different projects. And I want to also mention that, you know, Rudy, with this ambulance issue, that's an important issue. And then Jim with the dark stores thing. You know, those are really important issues, and it's nice to have you fellas step in there and take those issues and run with them. And I appreciate what you've done with them, and I hope you continue with that. But I wanted to tell you that that's important, and I appreciate it, and I'm sure down the road you'll find that the residents of Chippewa County appreciate your work.
We'll find out in 17, right?
All right.
I have one more report. Just a side note, I sit on Hiawatha Behavioral Health. We are in the process of hiring a new CEO, and the process has become very interesting. I won't divulge further than that, but it would behoove the public and maybe the press to attend some of the board meetings. This is a very, very important entity in our community, and we want to make sure that we hire the best person possible, and I would encourage you to support that.
Okay. Anyone else? With that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll support.
Motion made and supported. Egan and McLean. All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion is passed, and we stand adjourned.
Really, like I said, I appreciate what you're doing.
Very interesting.
Something's got to be done.